You are not too old. You are just too afraid to move. Gloria heard those words on a Wednesday evening, standing in the doorway of a dance studio she had only stopped in front of because her umbrella refused to open in the rain. She stood there longer than the rain required. Gloria Mae Washington was 63 years old. Natural silver locks that she wore pinned up during the week and loose on weekends. A small, private act of freedom she had given herself at 60 as a birthday gift to no one but herself. Deep brown skin that her mother had called blessed and that the years had treated with a quiet kindness. Hands that had signed 1,000 documents, comforted 100 grieving families, and held 2 newborns into the world. Hands that had learned, over time, to hold mostly themselves. She was the chief administrator of Hargrove Medical Center, a mid-sized hospital in Atlanta's West End, 14 years in the role. The kind of position that did not leave room for fragility, and so she had quietly dismantled every fragile thing inside herself until the structure was sound and the interior was functional. The house in Cascade Heights was paid off. Her daughter, Imani, was a lawyer in Philadelphia. Her son, Darius, was finishing his doctorate in Boston. Her retirement account was healthy. Her calendar was full. Her Saturday mornings were silent in a way that had stopped feeling restful. She looked at the words, painted in clean black letters across the studio window. You are not too old. You are just too afraid to move. She told herself she was reading it critically, the way she read everything: policy memos, budget reports, grant proposals, analytically, without personal investment. She stood there for 4 more minutes. Then she went home. But she did not forget the address. Renee Butler had been Gloria's best friend for 27 years, which meant she had earned the right to be completely insufferable on certain topics. She was exercising that right on a Sunday afternoon, sitting across from Gloria at their usual table at a soul food restaurant in Vine City, stirring sweet tea that did not need stirring. You've been quiet lately. Not your regular quiet. Your other quiet, Renee said. I'm always quiet. You're always composed. There's a difference. Renee set down the spoon. Gloria, when is the last time you did something that wasn't tied to that hospital? I took a week off in March. You answered emails the entire week. I saw your read receipts. Gloria did not deny it. You're turning into furniture, Renee said. She opened her bag and placed a brochure on the table between the bread basket and the hot sauce. My neighbor takes classes here. She said it's wonderful. Adults only, no performances, no pressure, just movement. The brochure was for a place called SEO's Studio, Dance and Wellness for Adults. Gloria looked at it without touching it. I don't dance, Renee. You used to. Before Marcus turned you into someone who didn't do anything for herself anymore. The name landed the way it always did. Not like a wound anymore, but like pressure on an old scar. Marcus Green, 20 years of marriage. A home they built together, a life that looked like exactly what it was supposed to look like. And a paralegal named Courtney, who he had been seeing for the last 3 years of it. Gloria had found out the way women often find out. Not dramatically, but in a quiet, devastating Tuesday moment that restructured everything that came before and after it. She had not screamed. She had not broken anything. She had done what she always did with pain that was too large for the space available. She folded it precisely, put it somewhere interior, and continued. That was 12 years ago. I left Marcus. I am fine, Gloria said. Leaving someone and healing from them are not the same thing, and you know it. Renee pushed the brochure closer. Just go look at it. You looked at worse before accepting better. Gloria picked up the brochure. She told herself she was just being polite. She went the following Thursday after work, still in her blazer. The studio occupied the ground floor of a renovated building on a quiet block near the West End. Large windows, warm light. The smell of hardwood and something faint, sandalwood maybe, or cedar. A small reception area with a desk, a few chairs, and a wall display of photographs showing people of various ages, all in motion. All with the specific unself-consciousness of people who had stopped performing and started feeling. The receptionist, a young woman named Tasha, was in the middle of telling her about the Thursday beginner class when Gloria heard footsteps on the hardwood behind her. She turned. He was coming from the back studio corridor, carrying a stack of folded yoga mats, and he stopped when he saw someone at the reception desk, not in surprise, but in that particular way that some people have of pausing before entering a space, as if they believe rooms deserve acknowledgement. He was in his mid-60s, she guessed. Korean. Silver, threading through dark hair at his temples. A lean, disciplined frame. Not the build of someone who went to a gym, but of someone who had spent decades asking their body to perform rather than to impress. His face had the particular quality of a life that had held both great sorrow and some hard-won peace. Lines around the eyes that were too numerous for laughter alone. A stillness in the jaw that came from learning not to speak before thinking. He looked at her for a moment, measured, not invasive, and nodded once with the quiet courtesy of someone who had no interest in performing warmth, but possessed the genuine thing. "Welcome," he said simply, and continued to the storage room. Tasha smiled. "That's Mr. Seo, Sung Jin Seo. He owns the studio. Everyone calls him SJ." Gloria looked at the hallway where he had disappeared. "I'll take the beginner class," she said. The Thursday class was taught by a young instructor named Marco, patient, rhythmic, endlessly encouraging. The style was Latin ballroom, basic salsa, basic rumba, the kind of foundational movement that felt embarrassing for exactly 2 weeks and then began to feel like a language. Sungjin taught the class 3 weeks in when Marco was at a wedding in Savannah. He was different from Marco in the way that experienced things are different from enthusiastic things. Quieter, more precise, less reassurance, and more information. He demonstrated each step once. He did not narrate excessively. When someone made an error, he corrected it directly and without drama, as if mistakes were simply data, not events. When the class paired up to practice and the count came out uneven, he looked at the remaining person, Gloria, without ceremony. "May I?" She almost said no. The word formed in her throat with 12 years of muscle memory behind it. "Yes," she said instead. His lead was unlike anything she remembered from the distant past when she used to dance. It was not controlling. It was not tentative. It was present, as though his attention were a physical thing he placed in the space between them, and all she had to do was respond to it. She missed the crossbody lead twice. "Don't watch your feet," he said. "I don't know where we're going." That's what the lead is for. A brief pause, and she had the sense he was choosing words carefully. Trust has to come before direction, not after. Gloria looked up from the floor. He was watching her with an expression that was neither warm nor cold. It was simply attentive, the way a person looks at something they consider worth understanding. She held his gaze for a moment longer than she expected to. Then the music shifted, and she followed the lead, and she did not miss the next step. Gloria woke at 5:15 on Friday morning, and lay in the gray pre-dawn of her bedroom, knowing, before she was fully conscious, that she had slept differently. Not better, necessarily. Just differently. As if something that had been held at a consistent tension for a long time had, just slightly, released. She made coffee in the kitchen and stood at the window watching the neighborhood come awake. A neighbor walking a dog, a delivery truck making its early rounds, the light changing in increments over the roofline. She was thinking about his hands. Not romantically, or not only romantically, and the not only was what she spent a careful few minutes examining. She was thinking about the quality of attention in them. How long had it been since someone had paid that quality of attention to her? Not to her competence, which people attended to constantly. Not to her title or her output or her judgment. To her, the actual person occupying the space. She caught herself before the thought completed and took a long sip of coffee. "You are being ridiculous, S."